All right, so 2022 See How They Run is directed by Tom George, written by Mark Chappell, and has a very great cast. But before I get into that, if I sound a little weird to take any pauses because I have a cold right now. Also, it is hot as hell in this room. I am probably going to sweat my ass off in here, but oh well. I don't know how long this review is going to be, but yeah, I'll bear through it, I guess. But yeah, in this movie we have Sam Rockwell as Inspector Stoppard, which Sam Rockwell is an actor I very much like. One of my favorite kind of underrated smaller budget films that he's been in is called The Way Back, and yeah, I would recommend checking that out. It's a good movie to watch during the summer. But we also have Saoirse Ronan as Constable Stalker, and it's kind of funny her name in the movie because she is overly ambitious, talks a lot, and doesn't get out of your business. So, yeah, I mean, the name Stalker is kind of fitting for her character, but also her character is just a wee bit annoying in this movie, I won't lie. Which I don't know for sure. I feel like I've seen her in something else, but this might be one of the first few things I've actually seen her in. I know a very popular movie that she was in is called Lady Bird, and that's one that I have not gotten around to. So maybe I'll watch that at some point, but knowing me, probably not. We have Harris Dickinson as Richard Attenborough, and this actor, I believe I've only seen in one film prior to this, and that was The King's Man, which I am not a huge fan of. I didn't like that movie too much, but at the same time, I did like his performance in that, so it was cool to see him here. We got Charlie Cooper as Dennis Corrigan. We have Ruth Wilson as Petula Spencer. We have Reese Shearsmith as John Wolfe. We got C.N. Clifford as Adana Romney. We got David Oyolo, hopefully I'm saying that right, probably not, as Mervyn Cocker Norris. Jacob Fortune Lloyd as Geo. Pippa Bennett Warner as Anne Seville. And the fantastic Adrian Brody as Leo Kopernik, or Kopernik, whichever one it might be. But yeah, really great cast here. I mean, there's only a handful of people that I really do know and I'm familiar with. Everybody else I'm not as familiar with. I'd have to go and check out what else they've been in. But for the most part, this is a pretty all-star cast. And that kind of makes the fact that this isn't a great movie even more disappointing. This is your typical whodunit film, but at the same time, it's not so typical because there's maybe not a lot of twists and turns, but there's a very big twist in this movie. And I don't want to spoil anything huge for the people that are going to watch this movie, but at the same time, I don't know how many people are actually going to end up watching this movie, unfortunately. Maybe not completely unfortunately, but I don't know. I think the director slash writer slash everybody that worked on this movie had a really unique vision, but it's a vision that I don't think comes across as well as it should. Because at times, yes, this is your typical whodunit kind of mystery film, but at times it doesn't know whether it wants to be that or a straight up comedy. And I don't know, I don't mind the comedy aspects in this film, but at the same time, this is a pretty short film. It's an hour and 38 minutes, really not that long. So I feel like they should have spent more time developing their characters a little bit more, making me actually care about them a little bit more, because literally none of the characters in here, like they tried to do some character development with Saoirse Ronan's character, Constable Stalker. I mean, she has kids. She has a boy and a girl. She lost her husband in the war. And that's about as far as they go with any character development for really any character at all. I mean, they have some for Sam Rockwell's character where, like, his wife left and had a baby with another man. So, like, in terms of character development, they're very vague about it. And I get it because you only have a limited amount of time and you also want to solve this mystery and have some twists and turns in there. But I didn't care. I literally didn't care about a single character in this movie. I was just here to watch and just kind of enjoy, maybe not even enjoy, but just kind of maybe even turn my brain off for a little bit, which typically shouldn't be the kind of movie to watch if you're like, watching a kind of mystery whodunit kind of film. Like a film like Knives Out, and I hate to compare every movie like this to Knives Out, but Knives Out set the standard for these types of movies, and it's just like, I don't know if anything is ever going to come close to it. Like Death on the Nile, Murder on the Orient Express. Didn't really like those films much. I mean, the classic original Clue movie. I mean, that's a great one, but I mean, in terms of that one and Knives Out, like I don't know how you're ever going to come close to making a better detective film than those two. Um, that being said, Knives Out, like it has a detective in it, but it's not necessarily about the detective. This one, it's kind of about the detective, but like you don't really see him really do the detective work. I don't know. Like you see him do a little bit, questioning people, whatnot. Honestly, Constable Stalker, she takes more notes than Inspector Stoppard. He seems at this point in his life just completely over everything. And while he has some intrigue to try to figure out who did the murder, I don't know. You just never see him actually do detective work. Like you know what I mean? Like kind of Sherlock. You don't see him picking up the pieces, and by the time they figure out who it is, they just kind of figure it out. And it's a huge letdown because that's supposed to be a big thing. And when the person came through the door and you found out who the murderer was, I was a little surprised, but it didn't like blow me away, and I wasn't like, oh my god, I could never see it coming. The only thing I didn't really see coming is the backstory with the killer and how they explain why they're doing what they're doing. But I don't know. It's a really disappointing film for me, at least. I mean, there's some elements of it that I really do like. The editing style of this film is very, very intriguing and just really fun. There's a lot of self-aware humor in this movie, where because basically you have a play in this movie, written by Agatha Christie. What was it called again? The Mousetrap. And I don't know if this is like based in any reality whatsoever or off of a book. I'm not sure. I tried to look it up before, but there's a lot of movies, or not a lot of movies, but a lot of books called See How They Run. And most of them didn't look like they had anything to do with this. But yeah, I mean, the whole Agatha Christie thing, that's interesting to me. I like the whole history aspect of that. Um, but you have this play that they're doing. And the play, in a lot of ways, lines up with the way the movie goes. And hopefully that's not a huge spoiler in saying that. But I don't know. It's a little interesting, the things that they try to do to weave through the story and kind of connect certain things to the play, to the actual events that are going on. It's intriguing and it's a good concept, but the execution in general just didn't necessarily work for me. There's a moment in here where David Oyelowo, again, hopefully I'm saying his name right, where he's like talking about backstories and whatnot, and like creative differences that he was having with Leo Kopernik's character, or Kopernik, or Adrian Brody's character, I should say, as Leo Kopernik, because that character is a director, talking about different creative differences and whatnot, and how he wanted to have flashbacks, and he's like, what next? You're gonna have 3 months later or 3 weeks later pop up, and then for the movie 3 weeks later pops up, but it doesn't necessarily make sense when that pops up, because okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil this aspect. Adrian Brody's character is the one that gets killed in the beginning of the movie, or pretty much, yeah, towards the beginning of the movie, and so it's his murder they're trying to solve. I mean, most of these types of movies kind of have to start with a murder in order to get the investigation going, but yeah, his character's the one that gets killed. And yeah, I mean, it cuts the whole 3 weeks later thing, because David Oyelowo, again, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name there, but he's talking to Inspector Stoppard and Constable Stalker, and the whole 3 weeks thing, he mentions that when talking to them, and then the whole 3 weeks later thing pops up on the screen. I'm like, oh, that's funny. But then immediately they show Adrian Brody interacting with David Oyelowo's character. And you see how that doesn't really make sense or add up, because, I don't know. I get that it's a joke and they're trying to be very self-aware, but at times it felt unnecessary and even kind of not completely halted, but just kind of messed with the flow of the film. Again, not a very long movie, so they had a lot that they wanted to try to do in a very short amount of time. For the most part, I think this movie is stylistic. I think it has fun acting. Is it an intriguing whodunit story? Not to me personally. It didn't feel like it really had any stakes. I didn't care about any of the characters. I mean, at most I can say I had fun with it, but I'm not going to be rewatching it. So there is my review for See How They Run from 2022. Have you seen it? Did you like it? Tell me what you think. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle? Comment down below. I would love to know. Have you not seen it? Are you planning on watching it? Hopefully after my review you kind of think about it, because I'm sure after what I said, most people probably wouldn't be too intrigued to watch it. I had the theater to myself. Yes, it's a Wednesday. I saw it at like 12:10 p.m. So I wasn't expecting there to be anybody, but the thing on the app said there was supposed to be people. So I don't know if people are actually going out to see this with a lot of other movies that are out right now, and movies that are going to be out like Thursday, tomorrow, as of recording this. Going to see Don't Worry, Darling. Excuse me. Worst time to get hiccups at the end of the video there. But yeah, I'm going to see Don't Worry, Darling tomorrow, so I'm sure a lot of people are going to go check that out. I'm pretty sure I saw that it was a pretty packed theater, so a lot of people are interested to go see that, and I can't blame them, especially with all the controversy going on from what it sounds like. But yeah, that's what you can expect from my my next review is Don't Worry, Darling. And then after that, after my review for that on like Friday or Saturday, will be my review for the first 2 episodes of Andor on Disney Plus, the new Star Wars series. So definitely excited to talk about both of those. But thank you all once again for watching. Leave a like on the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload, and I will see you tomorrow.